Chapter 20, Driving While Black, Rammock Medical School. "That was a good fight, man," Rammock said to his friend Dax as they drove down the street early one rainy November morning. They had just watched the Mike Tyson-Evander Holyfield prize fight and were heading back to Rammock's place. "Yeah, I can't even believe Holyfield knocked Tyson out." "Took him 11 rounds, Rammock replied with a laugh. "I bet tomorrow morning he won't even remember he was in a fight." Rammock drove carefully and within the speed limit, always aware of police cars cruising the streets late at night, looking for criminals or likely suspects. While stopped at a red light, they saw 3 police cars parked at the corner. One of the officers looked directly at Rammock. "Uh-oh, here it begins," Rammock said quietly to Dax. "Here come the boys." The 3 police cars lined up in single file slowly began following Rammock's car. "Why they sweating us, man?" Dax said. "We ain't done nothing wrong." "Not one thing." "It's not about being wrong. It's about being black," Rammock said with anger and regret in his voice. "Why do they just assume we're up to no good?" Dax asked bleakly. "Who knows?" Rammock answered as the 3 police cars followed their every turn and stop. DWB, driving while black, is the newest crime, don't you know? He looked in the rear-view mirror, and none of the cars had on lights or sirens. They just followed, silent vultures in the darkness. "Maybe you better stop," Dax suggested. "They have nothing on us. You're in medical school, and I'm in law school. They're not going to bother us." Rammock sighed and pulled over slowly. At that moment, the last police car in the line pulled in front of Rammock's car, cutting him off. The officer in that car jumped out of the car, gun drawn. The second officer turned on his floodlights and jumped out of his car as well, gun in hand, ready to fire. "Get out of the car," the policeman shouted. Rammock looked at Dax, and they stared at each other in fear. "They're going to kill us, man," Dax whispered. Rammock slowly got out of the car, hands raised. "We didn't do anything, sir," he said. "Shut up," the police officer snarled as he rushed over and slammed Rammock against the car. "Why didn't you stop?" the officer yelled in Rammock's ear as he frisked him. "I did stop," Rammock said. "Not soon enough," the policeman screamed back. "Why are you frisking me?" Rammock asked. "Just shut up," the police officer yelled again. One of the other policemen began searching through Rammock's car. "Hey, you can't go through my car like that," Rammock said. "Why are you searching my car?" The policeman ignored him and popped the trunk. "Got any drugs or guns?" the policeman asked. "Of course not. I'm a medical student, and my friend here is in law school." "Aha, look what I found." One of the officers looked gleefully from inside of Rammock's car. He held up a small fishing knife about the size of a pencil, which had been in the glove compartment. "You're going to jail, medical boy," the policeman said harshly. He snapped on a pair of handcuffs and left Rammock standing in the rain long enough to get soaked. Rammock, angry, embarrassed, and very afraid, was pushed into the back of the police car. Dax was allowed to drive Rammock's car home, but Rammock was taken to the station and charged with interference with the police officer and possession of a deadly weapon. These charges were felonies, and if they remained on his record, he would never be allowed to be a doctor. All of his hard work and sacrifices, as well as the sacrifices of his family, would be forever destroyed. Rammock was released the next morning, but he was upset and could not eat or sleep. It was so unfair. He couldn't believe, after getting so close, that all he had worked for was about to slip away. "You ought to file a complaint, man," someone suggested. That was a bogus arrest. Rammock was hesitant, but he knew that he had to get the charges dropped. He found a lawyer. "I'll help you out, son," the lawyer promised. I'll see if you can get the charges dropped. I'll try to talk to the prosecutor and the arresting officer." Rammock felt hopeful, but the lawyer called him back a few days later and told him the policeman refused to drop the charges because a complaint had been filed against him. Rammock reeled in despair. All of Rammock's friends and fellow students in medical school were looking forward to graduation and accepting positions as interns in various hospitals. He couldn't do that. First, he had to clear his name. The trial date was set. Rammock's attorney did not show up. The judge set a new date. Again, Rammock's lawyer did not appear in court. A third trial date was set, and unbelievably, Rammock's lawyer did not bother to come to the courthouse. The judge was livid. "Listen, young man," the judge said, "your attorney has no respect for you or your well-being. I'm going to set a new trial date, and this case will be tried with or without your lawyer. If I were you, I'd find a new one." Rammock nodded. Through a friendly doctor who had once treated his mother, Rammock found a new lawyer. Once again, he showed up in court, wearing his suit, his tie, and his dreams. "God, please help me out with this," Rammock prayed. The trial began, but after a few moments, the prosecutors asked for recess. "What's the problem?" Ramick whispered to his new lawyer. The lawyer went to speak to the judge and the prosecutors. He returned to Ramick with a smile on his face. "They've lost the evidence," he said triumphantly. "You mean my little fishing knife?" For the first time in months, Ramick began to feel hopeful. "Yes, they can't find it, so the judge has thrown out the case. You're free to go." Ramick whispered a prayer of thanks and hurried out of the courtroom forever. Now he could concentrate on his future. A conversation with Dr. Ramick Hunt, the possibility of losing the dream. Many people have said that I was always in trouble. Looking back, I think I have to agree with them. But even when I wasn't looking for trouble, it seemed that trouble had no problem finding me. When I got stopped by the police and was arrested, I thought my life was over. All that I had worked for, all that the three of us had fought for together, was about to disappear. And for once, it wasn't my fault. I had done nothing wrong. That's what made the whole situation so frustrating. I could have thrown in the towel and given up, but I didn't. I had so much to lose. Sure, it was hard to concentrate on school during that time, but deep down, I knew I was going to be a doctor, and I had the faith that I was going to work itself out. I didn't have much faith in the system, but I believe in myself. That's what's necessary when it's hard times come. Resilience. I know it's difficult to hold your head up high when you feel that by doing so, you'll get smacked around, but it's important to stand tall for what you know is right. I think the reason I was still successful was because no matter what trouble I got into, I never gave up on my dreams. I always knew I was going to succeed. Throughout all the adversity, I triumphed when most would have given up. Everybody goes through difficult times in life. The person who is successful is the one who doesn't quit. Failure was not an option for me. It never was and never will be.